Oh, sorry, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. I didn't know if Joe was giving me the thumbs up to start or what, and he's like shaking.
You know,
go.
You don't. You could just look at the timer and go, okay, it's been 5 seconds, and just start right on up. You know.
For those of you listening, not watching, we have a timer that I've just never really paid attention to. That is on a 27-inch screen right in front of my face.
Yeah, it's 4 foot away from you, and it takes up basically all of our view straight ahead. So I don't know how you could miss that.
Well, again, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
Right.
Brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. We're your hosts, Leah Gutierrez and Devil Dog Devin.
Hoorah!
I got it right that time. I didn't stutter.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. You just forgot to actually say it. I mean, I think I'd rather you stutter coming in.
Oh, whatever brings you comedy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. And you blow out your cheeks before you start. The audience never gets to see that, but she like puffs up like a frog. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So if you cannot see that right now, that means you're probably listening on radio. And
it's
remember,
because Joe tells us to stop talking.
Well, yeah.
And I have to hold my
you
breath.
have to hold your breath. Well, I was getting to the point, if they were listening on the radio, they could always see your beautiful face by going to our YouTube channel, Purple Heart Homes, or go to our website, phhusa.org. We've now got a little section where you can find the videos right there, and they'll be embedded. You can't miss them. You just like hit right there. It's like a hole-in-one.
Sunday, we launched our new website.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's actually really neat and has a lot more stories on it.
Absolutely.
Like it.
Well, so let's get to our guest.
Let's get to our guest. I had like the whole like segue plan. I was like,
you had a segue plan.
I was like, Devin, why are you teed off?
Oh.
Speaking of tea, well, our guest is. That was cheesy. Okay.
Well, so tell them.
It's our guest is retired Colonel Tony Henderson. Well, I stutter with names.
Hi, Tony.
Right? Oh.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Tony,
I'm
sorry.
nervous. It's a colonel sitting here in front of me, and I'm like, oh.
The level of professionalism is over the top.
Tony is the owner of River Oaks Golf Club in
Statesville, North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You own that one?
But Leah, did you do any research before the show?
Well, and I'm sorry, when I hear River Oaks, I always think Mooresville, and I forgot. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay. As I was.
So,
Devin, take over.
Tony's the owner of the River Oaks Golf Club and also a retired colonel of the Air Force for 27 years. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, 27 years.
Well, it was only going to start out as 4 years.
They always say that.
And I just lost track of time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Was that really the plan?
Fast.
Honestly, it was the plan. I graduated high school. I went to West Ireland High School here in Statesville.
Mm-hmm.
And graduated from high school, had an ROTC scholarship, which I owed them 4 years for.
Yeah.
So the plan was do my 4 years, get out. After 4 years, it wasn't too bad. I made captain. So stayed in for another assignment. Kind of enjoyed it. Got deployed to Desert Storm during that second phase, and kind of got remotivated. And all of a sudden, I'm at 18 years. Well, at that point, you're going to stay 20.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean you might
Usually,
as well.
Like the 12-year mark, some people say is like if you make it to 12, you might as well just make it to.
Well, if you do the math, if you make it to 8, you might as well stay.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just went from 4 to 8 to 12 to 20 to what the heck? We'll just stay a little longer.
Well, gosh, don't you make a little bit more money in retirement if you get to 30 though?
Well, I don't want to get political about why I got out. No, the truth is I got out at 27. I was up for a deployment, which would have been fine. 1 year in Afghanistan working with the Afghan recruiting effort.
Let's see.
I would have missed my daughter's wedding and my daughter's college graduation.
Yeah.
And she'd given enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that was the same. I retired after 27 years, and my boys were 4 and 6 at the time, and I was like, it was time to get out. Like, I didn't want them to miss anything.
Well, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
And thank you for the sacrifice that both you and your family made. Speaking of family, you're like the product of an Air Force family, right?
Yeah. My dad did 23 years. He worked in in missile maintenance. We followed the FB-111s and the B-52s around. He worked mostly on the SRAM missile. So I was born at Eglin Air Force Base, and then we went to Fairchild Air Force Base and Carswell Air Force Base and Griffiths Air Force Base and Pease Air Force Base. And then he's from Union Grove, so we came back here.
No kidding.
I was halfway through my freshman year in high school.
Did you always anticipate following in your dad's footsteps? I mean, was the military something in your future?
I think so. As far back as I can remember, I wanted to be in. Whenever they did, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah,
Stuff in sixth grade, it was I wanted to be a police officer.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to be something military. I didn't realize at that time that military could mean a lot of different things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
if there's a civilian job, they probably have a military version of it.
at least, yes.
Yeah. A lot of folks don't realize that.
Yeah. An Air Force base and an Army base. It's a community. It's got everything.
Absolutely. Well, so was your father an officer or?
No, he retired as a master sergeant, and I had told him early in high school, I think I'm going to enlist in the Marines.
I was going to say, well, that just made Devin's day.
They have cool uniforms.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
tell you, a Marine is very sharp in his dress uniform. Yes.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But he mentioned going to college, which I didn't have the funds for at the time. I'd have gone to Mitchell probably. But he said, I think there are ways that the Air Force will pay for you to go to college. So ask a few questions, sent some letters out to ask questions, and next thing I know, I'm on a 4-year ROTC scholarship to Georgia Tech.
No kidding.
What did you get your degree in?
I got a bachelor's in industrial engineering, later on a master's in industrial engineering, and then a master's in strategic policy.
Oh, wow.
Holy smokes. I hear that Georgia Tech's engineering programs are highly sought after.
Well, the industrial engineering program is number one in the nation. So yeah.
Yeah. That's not an
Not a bad
easy
degree
program
choice.
there.
No.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, Leah, is I think he might be smarter than both of us combined.
He joined the Air Force, so of course he's smarter.
He's
than
definitely
both of
smarter than us.
We're two grunts over here.
I probably lived better when I was deployed than you did.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah, it's you're.
I've never seen a tent have an air conditioned unit until I went to Afghanistan.
Well, you know what? When the Air Force builds an Air Force base, the first thing they put in is a flight line and a golf course.
That's right.
I remember when I had to go to Fort Irwin, California, and the Air Force was dropping us off, and there was golf clubs there, and they're like, the pilot was, I need you guys to get your stuff and get off because we have a tea time that we got to get back to. And I mean, we were no sooner off the runway when that plane was turned around and taken back off.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding. I giggled.
That must be why he ended up coming back and buying a golf course. Is he got so used to it in the Air Force.
No, actually, retired from the Air Force. We built my retirement house in the community at River Oaks. Golf course went bankrupt, so I bought it to protect my property value.
Oh my gosh. No kidding. That's pretty interesting. But we've only got about 30 seconds from the break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about River Oaks and how that came to be when we get back from there. But there's also something else we wanted to hit on that's pretty important that we're probably going to hit first, which is you were in the Pentagon on 9/11, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
I think that all of our audience would love to hear that story, and whatever you're willing and able to tell. I think everyone can remember where they were on 9/11, and we're going to hear about where you were when we get back from these messages. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
I'm Antonio Lewis from, let me start over. 9/11, after 9/11, so I'm a junior, you see what I'm saying, when that happened. And when it happened, it was in the back of my mind. Okay, I'll go into the military. I was in, like I said, a year. I was in 2003, the incident happened in 2004, stuck me in the arms room, did that, and then there was a mission where, hey, one of the members, passed away, and I had to go pick up his rifle. So that's how I ended up, going out on a mission, and that mission got hit on the way back, right? And people died, I was one of the lucky ones that, hey, my hearing and those things, but it was just like, hey, I'm good. You get older, you start like, hey, is this normal? That concussion, that TBI, those different things, and start talking to different doctors and just realize that, hey, You're not. Okay. Coming here to Texas with the opportunity to go to school, had a son, right? Find out, hey, I can have kids, you know? And growing up without a home, you know, just moving around a lot, going from place to place, that's something that I challenged myself that my son will always have a place to stay. So bought a house, you know, and didn't understand what was going into that, you know, just all the responsibilities that come with owning a home. We had a bunch of rain here, and it got to the point where the roof started leaking. And so it just got between that, you know, childcare, cost of living, became a struggle. So that's where my buddy was just like, hey, Purple Heart Homes, you know, reached out to them, and I wasn't expecting to get back with me so soon, but they did. September, I got a brand new roof. It was bright and early. I mean, if you could see the street, it was all flooded. You know, it was hard to get it. My neighbors were looking at me crazy. You know, you got this hammering, you know, going on, and then you got these news crews showing up, and then you got Firehouse Roofing and all these guys just coming over and just saying, hey, I want to shake your hand and thank you for your service. It just humbled me, you know, and so it was just like, well, I didn't know what to do, but just take it in. Humbling experience, you know, we go through life, you know, challenges, and then when something like that happens to you, you're just at a loss for words, you know, and like I said, I'm forever grateful for Purple Heart Homes, Owens Corning, and Firehouse Roofing, just for that, you know, that love. I just thank you guys from the bottom of my heart.
I didn't know this was music. And welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. I actually watched the clock that time.
Oh, good job.
Thank you. I counted down. And then Joe gave me the thumbs up, so we're good.
You know, I thought that was strange. Everybody says that the Marines can't count, but it apparently was the Army.
I was an MP, so that's my excuse.
Oh,
I didn't have to.
an MP, yeah, because everybody loves the MPs.
Especially the Marines. You guys kept us job security.
Job security? How you were on an Army base, weren't you?
Yeah, but they were joint bases too.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, and if there's one Marine, there's a whole heap of trouble.
That's all it takes is one to just ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, but the Air Force, they're a little bit more gentlemanly, and they do things a little more proper. And
I always told my dad, I said, I bet a 4-star hotel was roughing it for you. No, my dad was Air Force. He did 20-some years, so I pick on him about that all the time.
The Holiday Inn was roughing it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Golly, if we got a Super 8 or a Microtel, you know, back in, we thought, wow. We had running water. We were like, woohoo.
I never got to stay in a hotel as a Marine, so I don't know anything about that.
I don't believe they were allowed.
No. I'm sure if we were doing like a joint task force with the Air Force and they needed the Air Force to stay in a hotel, we would have probably been in the parking lot in a two-man hooch.
And more comfortable that way, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't want the bed bugs that are inside. Yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah.
What's a cot?
A cot. But you have been in some uncomfortable situations, though.
A few.
Yeah. And we were just talking about before the break. By the way, if you're just now joining us, this is Colonel Tony Henderson, retired from the U.S. Air Force of 27 years. And we were just discussing right before the break that you were actually in the Pentagon on 9/11.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was, as I've told people, it was kind of a normal day. You know, I believe if memory serves, it was a Tuesday morning and nice sunny day. I'm sitting in my little cubicle looking out the window where I can see the next part of the building over.
Layers, yeah. Because inside is like a court or a courtyard.
Yeah, and I'm on 4th floor E ring, so I'm on the exterior ring, 4th floor. I can see D ring on the other side of my window, and you can see a little sunlight when you look up. And it was just a nice day. And then somebody had said, an airplane hit a tower, hit one of the World Trade Center towers. And I'm immediately thinking, oh, it's a Cessna or something.
Right.
It got blown off course. And no, we pulled it up on the TV just in time to see the second one go in.
No kidding.
So sitting there, and I turned to I was a lieutenant colonel at the time. Turned to a lieutenant colonel that I was working with, and told her, "I'm surprised that we weren't a target." It was obviously purposeful at that point. Not 10 seconds later, boom!
Oh my gosh!
I'm about 150, 180 yards from impact.
Oh my gosh!
You wouldn't think that a building made of concrete and granite would move, but it moved. Smoke come rolling down the hall, the claxons are going off, and we knew immediately what it was. We had been hit. Our exit was towards the impact site. So down the hall, down 4 flights of stairs, and out across the walk ramp into the parking lot. What I tell people amazed me the most was the order and the calmness of people leaving. Everyone knew what happened.
Really?
But we exited that building orderly, no pushing, no shoving. I didn't even cry. It was good. Nice and calm.
No.
As we exited the walking ramp into the parking lot, you could feel the heat coming off the end of the building. You could smell the jet fuel burning. So again, no doubt what had happened. We get out in the parking lot. We're standing there waiting to be, like all good military folks, to be told what to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, about 15, 20 minutes, they said, exit under the interstate over into Crystal City because we think there's another plane inbound.
Holy smokes.
That's, of course, the one that went down in Shanksville.
Yes.
That was one that was aimed for the White House one, or the Capitol. Yeah.
Well, the thought is the one that hit the Pentagon was aiming for the Capitol. Now, we don't know that for a fact,
Right.
but it had circled, and they think they couldn't find their target. So they saw the Pentagon, which they knew knew what it was, and they hit right over the helipad. There's a helipad on one corner, and thankfully that's the least populated part of the Pentagon. It had just recently been renovated, so it was the most hardened section of the Pentagon, and it minimized the amount of damage to a degree. But the thought was, they couldn't find their primary target, and that's why they hit the Pentagon.
Did you guys realize at the time that it was an airliner or like a huge, as big as it was?
Well, we
or?
all figured it had to be the way it hit, the way it moved the building, and what had already hit the Trade Center.
Yeah.
We pretty much knew what it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, you couldn't see anything when you exited. You just saw the big ball of fire and the flames.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is the next day we were all back in the building.
Really?
Well, that's when the real work had to start.
Yeah. The cleanup and everything.
Well,
yeah.
not just the cleanup. We're at war.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and that's what the Pentagon's there for. Now, at that point, I held a compartmentalized security clearance, and one of the sections that got hit was the personnel section of Army, and there was a lot of classified information there. Of course, they were mostly gone. So I spent the better part of a week in that section trying to secure classified information while they were doing cleanup.
Wow.
So that was a little eye-opening, but we were back in there, almost immediately, got the place cleaned up, and starting getting down to the serious business that we had to get to.
Right.
At that point is when I decided I wasn't retiring at 20 years. It kind of remotivated me.
Yeah.
Really? That was it.
I was at the 18-year point. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, 2 more years, I can retire, 50% pay, part-time job at Starbucks. Yeah, I can make ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of remotivated me.
It's strange, like how
You
often I
regain
hear
your
that.
sense of purpose again. I think sometimes when you're in so long, you kind of forget your purpose, and then this obviously reignited that purpose.
And I know y'all's experiences were different, but as an officer, you spend so much time at a headquarters, so much time on a staff,
Right.
you really get disconnected from the mission,
Yeah.
and that reconnected.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't imagine what that would have been like to be there. But I think the thing that I found most striking about your story is that how orderly you're. I guess that's one of the reasons why the civilian world needs to think about what it takes to be in military readiness. Because if you do anything that distracts
Can't
from
panic.
military, you can't panic. In those situations, military folks, they're trained to just keep on moving the mission forward. You knew a plane had just hit your building and everybody's just walking out orderly.
Well, I think
because
too is you're trained to, when trauma happens or something, you're automatically clicked to like go into reactive mode, like
Absolutely.
going to protective.
Well, and planning and drilling, is a huge part of it. About a month and a half before the incident, we had done a fire drill in the Pentagon where we all evacuated where we were supposed to evacuate, and our doors were chained shut.
Really?
So
So you had to find an alternate route.
that time we did. Luckily, when 9/11 happened, they had the chains off the doors.
Well, that's lovely. I'm glad they remembered to do that.
So having practice sessions, rehearsal sessions, drill is important. It shows you where your shortcomings are.
Oh yeah. And I think, like, I remember sitting on the couch watching, and I was just thinking about this when we were talking. I think kids seeing 9/11 happen was the same as us in my generation watching the Challenger
Yes.
explode. It's like kind of that same.
Well, and it's you have a generation now that wasn't born on 9/11.
Right.
Absolutely.
And don't have a real concept as to what that was, what it did to the country, the devastation and the trauma of it happening, and the way it united a country.
Yeah.
It's sad that it takes something like that to unite us, and I hope that my children's generation doesn't have to experience something like that. But when it did happen, I don't think I'd ever felt a more sense of togetherness.
Yeah, I remember like growing up, we had Veterans Day and certain holidays. I don't remember celebrating it as much as we have now. Like you knew those days existed and what they were for, but I think after 9/11 is when people started showing more pride and more appreciation and more dedication and more cohesiveness and compassion towards one another.
Well, my daughter went to a private Christian school when I was in the Pentagon. I think she was in the 4th or 5th grade, and of course they knew where all the parents worked, and they knew that I was in the Pentagon, so they went and got her out of class, told her what had happened. I couldn't reach anybody. And we had cell phones back then, but not the way they are now.
Right.
No.
So I couldn't call family. All the lines were full. I could call my mom and dad in Statesville on long lines.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
And they passed the information on that I was okay.
That's wow.
That's still
That's
gotta be
pretty
hard
crazy. I never would have thought about something like that.
You don't think how far we've come with technology and communication, but you didn't have smartphones back then. You basically had a flip phone.
That's true.
That or a BlackBerry.
Well, I had that Nokia candy bar phone that you could drop and it'd break into a million pieces, and you put it back together like a
I had a
Lego set.
Nextel.
The technology is continuing to progress, and we're going to have to adapt to that.
Yeah, it brings a whole new sense to readiness.
It does. Yeah, there's a lot to be ready for, and hopefully we're going in the right direction to help with that. But who knows what's on the horizon? Maybe you. I mean, you were in the Pentagon.
Long time ago.
I understand. So
Everybody I served was retired now.
yeah. I feel like he doesn't want to tell us what he knows. Maybe we can get out of him if we go to break or something. We can nudge him a little bit, get some secret.
Talk about Area 51. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So, hey, we're going to go to break so we can talk about Area 51 with Colonel Tony Henderson. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
My name is Mike Lennon. I'm a board member of Purple Heart Homes, which is a nonprofit started in Statesville, North Carolina. We established a chapter in the Lynchburg area. We call it the Central Virginia chapter. We were at the Christmas dinner for Lynchburg Area Veterans Council last week. Pam Zirkle came up to me and said, "There's something going on and I want to talk to you about it." Lynchburg area veteran took his own life, but before he did that, he killed the mother of his children. 2 children, 6 years old, no longer had parents. I contacted John Galena, who's the CEO and co-founder of Purple Heart Homes. Well, the next day, John Galena says, "I've raised $2,000 in gift cards for this family in less than a day." I'm going to take a pause and hand the microphone to Rex and put him on the spot for a second.
Bless the aunt of the 2 orphan children for stepping up and taking responsibility for these children. Unfortunately, their home is less than 1,200 square feet, and she has 3 children of her own living with her now. There is absolutely no space. It is small. So what we're looking at now is ways that we can help her find the space she needs to raise these children. That's our plan right now, is to work with Purple Heart Homes and the Lynchburg community here, see what we can put together to help this family survive this tragic situation.
So I spoke to John Galena again, and he said that he put out word on his network, and he has somebody who has committed $15,000 as a match. We're going to ask the community to help us raise $15,000 so that we can turn it into $30,000, so that we can turn that into an addition on a house for this wonderful lady, so that the 7 people that are living there have a little room to spread out. Everybody wants to talk about 22 veterans a day that take their own lives. Very rarely do you think about the impact on the people that are left behind. So think about the size of the heart in this lady who says, the house is packed with people, but I'm going to take those 2 kids on and I'm going to show them love. So that's what we as a community need to help with, and that's what we're going to be asking for help with. So thank you.
And welcome back to Putting Pieces Back Together. I don't know why I always say and.
And
Welcome back.
It's like you're continuing something.
I am
Well, you are continuing something.
continuing our mission, our conversation.
I mean, yeah, we are.
Gee
We're
willikers.
continuing the mission of Purple Heart Homes to help veterans with housing needs.
Yes.
That's right.
And if
Yeah.
you like to see what we're doing and you like to donate, you can always go to phhusa.org and check out our new website.
Absolutely. Wow, you went right into that.
I
Good
did.
for you.
Am I getting better?
A little bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean. I'm just checking. You're getting
John, can I get fired again?
Oh man.
Again.
Yeah, and also there on the new website, there's a nice little tab that says events. And we have an upcoming event.
we
If
do.
you're local to Statesville area, or even if you just want to come in on what is it, April 11th.
You like golf?
Yeah, we're having a golf tournament at River Oaks Golf Tournament,
Yes.
Golf Club. Did I say that right?
You said it
River
right.
Oaks Golf Club.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody here might know something about that. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, well, what can I tell you?
So if you're just joining us, retired Colonel Tony Henderson, owner of
River Oaks Golf Course.
Yeah. Yay!
And if you want to know more about it, www.golfriveroaks.com.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, you got to plug the website there.
Well, I saw you plug yours.
Hey.
Yeah, of
Of
course.
course, of course, it is your web show. So
We don't mind shout outs every now
All
and then.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we especially want you to shout out the club this time because we want folks to see your beautiful club.
I heard you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
Getting it
it's come a long ways.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that I bought it out of bankruptcy.
How?
Well, I just retired from the Air Force. I made an offer with this Bank of Granite back then. It was a toxic asset they had.
Bank of Granite.
Long gone.
It was not solid as a rock.
No, not so much. But I made an offer that I probably couldn't have afforded. We had a major flood. It washed bridges away. It washed greens away.
Wow.
I came back down. I was still assigned at the Pentagon at the time. My second tour at the Pentagon. Came down and looked it over. And the golf pro that was working there for the bank said, "Well, you probably want to back out of this now." I said, "No, I think I just saved a lot of money."
Oh,
I made them a lowball offer. Basically, they gave me 48. They sold me 48 building lots and gave me a golf course,
no kidding.
which I had to fix up. But I had a buddy who did construction and earth moving, and we got it fixed up pretty quick. I bought it on the 6th of April. We were reopened on the 30th of April.
Wow.
That's
of
impressive.
2010.
Wow. So you were immediately like, let's turn in some revenue.
Well, I owed the bank money. I had to pay it back. So yeah. But
Valid.
the first 4 or 5 years, it's like, what kind of mistake did I make?
I think anyone that owns their own business, usually, the first couple years.
Well, they
is
can give you a
hard.
golf course, but they don't tell you I still have to pay the bills.
Oh yeah, man.
So the first 4 or 5 years were really touch and go. My second year into it, I hired the superintendent that I have now, Chad Wyrick, and he's absolutely the best in the area. don't write that down because I don't want them to leave. But over time and with the limited resources I had, we've turned the golf course around, and it's as good a playing golf course as anything within 50, 100 miles.
That's awesome.
And the work never stops. We closed down 2 summers ago, redid the greens, redid a bunch of the other stuff, put about $1 million into the course, and it's just spectacular. Plays up about 32% year over year because of the renovations.
Really?
But when we had Purple Heart Homes coming in for their tournament, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, it'll be a pretty good sized crowd. Needed a little more space to properly serve them. So over this winter, we are renovating the lower level of the clubhouse, making an event area downstairs where we can seat the proper number of people, and do it with class.
That's awesome. So you're renovating with Purple Heart Homes in mind.
Well, you're the driving force for doing it this quickly.
Well,
I do have a wedding scheduled later in the fall that we're doing down there, but I could have waited till July or August for that. But y'all are the driving force for doing this.
That's all. Well, we
We're
certainly
honored.
appreciate it. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I mean, and to be able to do our tournament at a course that a veteran owns is, man, that's amazing. And
Well, as a veteran who owns it, it's special to have y'all out there.
Yes.
yeah,
cause.
thank you for doing that. And I know that these things, when you're doing these charity golf tournaments, it's always hard because you're trying to budget. Okay, how much are we spending, and how much is it going to cost to do the course and the catering, and y'all have done us fantastic here. I know that you have to make a profit to keep the lights on, but you still did it in a way that we could earn money to put towards housing needs for veterans, and we greatly appreciate that.
Well, and that's a priority. I would love to be able to donate everything, but like you said, I still have bills to pay.
Absolutely.
But we try to work with the appropriate organizations who are doing tournaments for good causes. Make sure that they can be profitable. It's worth their time, and it's still worth our time. What I tell most of them, and y'all know this, is if your golfers pay for the tournament, your sponsors make you the money, and y'all have an organization that can reach out and find sponsors, and you have the cause that people want to donate to.
Yes.
That's kind of what I would encourage anybody listening to this is reach out to Purple Heart Homes. This is a gold-plated platinum level charity. Reach out and help them.
Well, thank you for that
Got me
endorsement there,
chills.
And then come to River Oaks and play golf.
That's right. And if you'd like to play in our golf tournament, again, that's April 11th. And I think that at this point, there's only 15 more teams
Yes.
available, 4-man teams.
We're going to load the course.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the early bird special, which it's 150 per person for early bird, but it goes up to 175 on February 28th. So that's the last day of early bird. Be sure to get in there quick and do it with get your 4-man team established, so you don't have to play with folks you don't know.
Yeah, and I think we're feeding y'all a couple of meals during this.
Yeah,
There's
lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner, lots of prizes. Yeah, we've got a Eagles Bar and Grill, which is associated. That's my food and beverage operation at the golf course. Eagles, kind of a play on words.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Retired colonel's an Eagle. An Eagle's a 2 under par. So it fits golf and it fits my military background.
That's awesome.
But Eagles Bar and Grill is going to take good care of everybody. Our food's fantastic.
That's
So-
awesome.
You have a putt course because I don't do golf.
We have a practice green that you can go
Okay.
putt around on.
There we
Oh,
go.
look at that.
See?
They got you covered.
Yay.
And me too, because I don't.
It'll go. I swing a golf club like
Well,
a ball bat.
I'm the worst golfer in the world that owns a golf course.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's just a fact. I play maybe once a year.
No kidding.
It's a business. I told you before, I did it to keep my property value from falling on the house that I built. So,
Have you? Yeah, I'm guessing you're successful at that.
well,
The county assessor come over and let you know that you were.
on a regular basis. But,
My mortgage just went up $100, and I was like, "It's not adjustable. How'd that happen?" I was
it's
like,
insane.
"Oh, taxes."
Yeah. And Iredell County is really good on taxes. Shout out to Iredell County. We're low, but it still gets
yeah.
high.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the value of all properties have increased exponentially in the last 5 years.
So that's
So
kind of the plan, I think. That's kind of what you want.
yeah, oh yeah, especially if you're a homeowner or a property owner, or if you own a large piece of land out in the western part of Iredell County. I'm guessing that would.
168 and a half acres.
Yeah, man. Well, so I know that there's still some sponsorships available. You mentioned supporting us. If any of folks out there, if you are interested in sponsoring this tournament, there are sponsorships available from $250 all the way to $10,000 if you want to be a key sponsor. So go to phhusa.org events and click on the page. You can see how to do that, or you can sign up for the tournament and go to what website to see River Oaks Golf Course?
www.golfriveroaks.com.
All right. So yeah, check both the websites out. You can see the course ahead of time and support a charity that you love.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go back to these messages and yeah, I've lost what I'm saying. So we'll see you later. I'll get my time back.
Dear friends and supporters, as we prepare to welcome in 2025, we at Purple Heart Homes are looking ahead with hope and determination to make this year even more impactful for the veterans that we serve. Thanks to your generosity, we've built ramps, renovated homes, and transformed the lives of over 233 veterans and their families. But there's still more to do. Right now, several projects are waiting to get started, and we need your help to make them happen. Together, we can ensure that disabled veterans and their families receive the homes they've dreamed of, fought for, and deserve. This is your chance to be a part of something truly meaningful. Your gift, whether it's $20, $50, or $100, will bring us closer to completing these projects and giving the veterans the safety, security, and dignity that they've earned. Let's start 2025 off strong and make it a year of action and impact. Donating has never been easier. We're even accepting donations through Venmo. Together, we can change lives and honor those who have sacrificed so much for our freedom. Thank you for your continued support and commitment to the Purple Heart Homes mission.
Welcome back to putting the pieces back together. I made sure not to say and.
Yeah, well, why did you call attention to it? You could have just rolled on out.
This is, I don't know.
Have you ever seen that movie Animal House with was it James Belushi? John Belushi.
John Belushi.
John Belushi. And you make that frog frog face, and I always think about the scene with the mashed potatoes. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, you're too young. And so,
You might have to just like pop that scene up.
yeah, it's one of the greatest comedies of all time. Yeah,
Greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, yeah, man. It was a big hit.
It was.
Speaking of big hits.
I like how you did that. Keep going.
Yeah. Why don't we talk to Tony, retired colonel of the Air Force, about the big hits of his career? What was your favorite station when you were in the Air Force?
I kind of like different stations for different reasons. My first duty assignment was Lowry Air Force Base in Denver, Colorado, which was interesting because that was my dad's first duty assignment.
Oh.
It's where he met my mom, and it's where they got married.
No kidding.
So I had a couple uncles out there, which was kind of nice.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah, great skiing, cold weather. But that was a favorite assignment simply because where it was,
Right.
and the relation to my family. And then from there, I went to San Antonio.
Lackland. Or were you at Kelly?
I was at Randolph,
Oh,
then
Randolph.
at Lackland.
Okay.
So I did 6 years, 2 assignments there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, overgrown cow town. That's all
It
it
is. Yeah.
Hot, hot.
Hot. Yeah.
Then it rains and everything floods, and then it gets hot again.
So a delightful place, really.
Yeah.
Can't say enough good
Well,
Yeah.
things.
I retired.
During that time, yeah.
I considered retiring there for about a minute.
You looked around and you're like, yeah, no.
And then sometimes you've got to watch what you ask for. my dream assignment, I wanted to go to Langley Air Force Base, in Virginia,
Oh yeah.
close to home. It's headquarters Air Combat Command.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool duty station.
Worst assignment I ever had.
Really?
Really?
Boring.
Oh,
Well, that was at the time when Strategic Air Command and Tactical Air Command shut down.
oh yeah.
And they recombined as Air Combat Command
Combat,
at
yeah.
Langley. So there was 2 major commands worth of staff to do 1 major command's worth of work.
No kidding. And no matter what rank you are, you're going to have to salute a lot of people.
Well, and I got real good at playing free cell.
Oh my gosh.
It was boring. That was the first time I seriously considered getting out of the Air Force. But that's when I hit 8 years or so and really couldn't justify it.
You figured if you held on for another 12, it'd be worth it.
Well, then right after that, I went all the way across the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel to Norfolk in the Joint Command, U.S. Atlantic Command. That was the first time I got to work closely with Army, Navy, Marines, as well as Air Force.
Holy smokes.
So it kind of opened my eyes to the way the other branches worked, how their structure served them. That was a really, really good assignment.
What'd you think about working with the Marines there?
General Sheehan was the 4-star commander. So so the entire command. It was the first time that once a week we had to get in early in formation and run. The Air Force. If the Air Force is running, somebody's chasing us.
You better see what's going on.
So you never had to run in the military?
You never had a
before
fun
that?
run?
We'd done PT runs and all that, and I've always been
Mandatory
a runner.
fun run?
Yeah. But this was the first formation runs as a unit with our Army Sergeant First Class calling Jodies out. And taking turns carrying the guidon, looping the field. It was a.
We make it look like a spectacle.
It was a different experience.
I bet.
You're probably
man.
running around going, "Oh man, I feel sorry for that guy carrying that guidon running."
Oh, we took turns. It was for us non-Army, us Air Force folks in particular. It's a badge of honor to get to do it.
That's true.
No kidding. Wow, that's awesome. I never would have thought about that. I mean, that
We just, it's not part of the Air Force culture. A unit runs like that. We do our annual PT, and most people in the Air Force work out more than you think they do.
Yeah.
But
a friend of, Carrie, the chief operations
Or coup.
executive. What is
Chief Operations Officer.
Chief operations officer. Yeah, I got her name. I got that all right.
I just said coup.
Hopefully she doesn't watch the show.
X-May on the open stage. She does watch.
Her son is in the Air Force, and he came back, and I've known this kid his entire life, and he is just ripped. And I was like, you did it. You found the only gym in the Air Force.
Oh, we have gyms. They're not always crowded, but we have them.
Do you?
Yeah.
They've got a TCBY in them, don't they?
Well, you have to have refreshment after your workout.
That's right. A smoothie bar.
So what does a PT test in the Air Force consist of?
Actually, it's right up there with the other services. Max push-ups, max sit-ups, 1.5 mile run for time.
1.5 miles.
1.5 miles, huh?
And then
Knew I should join the Air Force.
then you have your percent body fat measurement. They measure your waist and
That was so ridiculous.
yeah, it absolutely
We
is.
had guys that were like bodybuilders, like
Okay.
huge bodybuilders,
Yeah.
and they were still like over.
Yeah.
They had to get taped because they weighed over, and then they were over the tape measurements.
I had to get taped just one time, and they looked at me.
Crazy.
They didn't actually tape me. I just walked in. They looked at me and they said, "Go away."
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
I served through the time when the Air Force got overly scientific, got rid of the run, and we did the ergometry test, riding a stationary bicycle with little heart monitors.
That
all
was
over you.
so. That was real. I thought that was like a
No, I
myth
remember
that
my
we made
dad
up
talking
to make
about
fun of
that.
y'all.
No,
Yeah.
it was real, and we deserved to be made fun of over it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's just so you're aware, the Marine Corps PT test is 3 miles. Not yeah.
Ours is 2.
Yeah,
Yours is 2.
Yeah.
and the,
Well, that was the old one.
and the Navy's either a 1.5 mile or a 1/2 mile swim.
Or a 1/2 mile swim.
Yeah, they get their choice.
No kidding.
Now, all my data's a little dated because I've been retired a while, but that's how it was.
I didn't actually know that. We're learning more with Tony.
You make fun of the ergometry test, the cycle test. Well, at that point, I was running 10Ks and half marathons pretty regular. I kept failing the test.
Really?
Yeah, they said, "Oh, you're too fit."
You're
Oh,
too
yeah.
fit.
Yeah, I couldn't get my heart rate up high enough.
Oh, it's a
Holy
test, yeah.
smokes. Wow.
Luckily, they got rid of it.
I remember my dad telling me the story of this guy that was overweight, and what he did was when he had to go tape, he had stuff in his pockets, nuts and bolts and stuff or whatever. And so every week he went to go check, he just took more out. So it
He's
showed that he
making
was
progress.
making progress. I was like, that is genius.
And for those of you who are out there, the civilians don't know what we're talking about being taped. That
Oh, yeah.
they would. There's a mathematical formula. They take a tape measure and they literally put it around your limbs,
Your waist, your hips, your
chest.
neck, your chest,
your chest. Yeah.
forearms.
And then they measure you and they measure your weight, and muscle weighs more than fat. And so they do this formula to come up with your body fat percentage.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a best guess at best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it's definitely just a
horrible.
guess.
But now I've got to defend the Air Force for just a second because
Okay.
y'all espouse how much tougher your PT was.
Yeah.
Well, when I was stationed in Southern California, I ran the Air Force recruiting squadron. I'm at the MEPS in Phoenix, Arizona, and there's a young girl sitting out crying. She's wearing an Air Force tag. I asked her, young lady, what's wrong? Well, she'd failed for the third time the X Factor test.
The X Factor test.
The Air Force, the only service that has this, you have to be able to military press a certain number of pounds.
Oh, wow.
And she couldn't do it. And she went home, she tried again, she still couldn't do it. So I walked her over to the Marines and she enlisted in the Marines.
Stop it. That is awesome.
You know what I really got out of that is that the vocabulary test for the Air Force was a lot harder because he used the word espoused.
Devin's going P.
Is this going to be on the final exam, Tony?
It wasn't on the ASVAB, you were fine.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've got about 2 minutes left. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you'd like to talk about or revisit?
Yeah, just a couple of things real quick. If you're interested in the tournament, please sign up.
Absolutely.
If you want to donate to a great cause, please do so. Purple Heart Home's fantastic.
Thank
If you
so
want to
much
play
for
a
that.
great golf course, River Oaks,
There you go.
704-883-8724. Call the pro shop, get a tee time.
Yeah.
And if you're ever hungry, whether you're playing golf or not, Eagles Bar and Grill is open to the public. The food is good. It's not expensive for a golf course, at least. And come out and join us. Sit out on the back deck, watch people play number 9 and number 18. Just have a good time.
Wow. We'll have to do that. That's awesome, Tony. And I'm definitely going to come join you for a meal and a drink or two over there at Eagles Golf. Or
Eagles Bar and Grill.
Eagles Bar and Grill. Yeah. And it's not too late to sign up for the tournament. Go to phhusa.org. There's still 15 teams open, and there's still ability to sponsor the tournament. So anywhere from $250 to $10,000, whatever level fits you best. We can certainly use it because there's so many veterans out there that need our help, and we can't do it without your support. Tony, you've been a great guest today, man.
We've had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your stories
You
are
are really
amazing.
good at what you do, too.
You know, he like paused as he was like, how
Right.
should I say this?
He was.
Y'all done did good.
He was trying to be tactful
Yes.
about it. Did you see that?
This was a lot of fun.
Well, we've loved having you over here.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you've missed any part of this broadcast, you can catch it on YouTube, on Purple Heart Homes YouTube page. Go there, check us out. Like, click, subscribe, do all those things that you're supposed to do with the buttons. You know anything else, Leah?
Nope. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
I get
Colonel
enough
Tony
spam.
Henderson.
Oh my God.
I always answer it and tell them that I'm an HVAC repair line, and I just start trying to fix their problem. It's usually somebody trying to buy my house these days.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that property, yeah, that's in our service area. Oh yeah, yeah. What kind of work were you looking to get done? No. We need to buy. Yeah, buy. Yeah, we'll buy. Yes, you can buy services from us.
Yeah.
We buy, sell units,
A whole unit, yeah.
all kinds of things.
So one of our Dodge, Valentine Dodge, he
Yeah.
is from Lafayette, but he speaks Russian. And so there's been twice I've gotten spam calls. And I'm like, Dodge, will you answer this for me? And then he just starts speaking Russian. He's like, oh, they hung up. Like, if you ever needed someone to take the phone call, just give it to a Russian. I don't know what he said, but they hung up.
Well, maybe they did, and that's why they hung it. How rude of Dodge. Wow.
Eventually, it's going to happen. And the person's going to speak Russian.
I know.
Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of crazy if he did.
He'd be like, here, speak English.
Hey, Joe, are we still recording? Yeah, we're still
yeah,
recording.
but
Yeah, so
bonus content.
but bonus content. Yeah,
You got to like bonus content.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's free of charge.
It is. We say all the things we wanted to say,
Well, it's
but couldn't.
so, what things did you want to say that you couldn't on terrestrial radio?
Nothing. It would hurt your feelings.
It hurt my feelings.
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Probably hurt my feelings.
which deployments did y'all have when you were in the military? I'm sure you both deployed.
Well, I was in when 9/11 happened as well.
Yeah.
So my first duty station that after that happened was Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Been there.
Gitmo.
Gitmo. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually the best 97 days of my life at that
Oh, you
point.
only spent 97.
I did. I only spent 97 days there.
were
We
there,
built
like,
the
for a
original
year.
prisons there. You went there for a year? No
Yeah.
kidding.
I only spent 97 hours there. We went down to work with the back when the Chinese were sending boat people over.
No kidding.
That would have been. I was at USACOM at the time.
Wow.
So I did what they called Operation Noble Eagle. But I was at Fort Meade, Maryland, because the active duty went out, and then we were doing security for NSA.
Yeah.
And then 0405, I was Operation Iraqi Freedom 3, and I was in Anaconda. And then 0910, I went to OEF 5 at the time or something like that. And that was in Kandahar, and I actually worked with RC South with the Navy Command there.
Well, I went to the original Operation Iraqi Freedom.
The
like-
first one,
Yeah, the first one. I was literally there before we actually declared the war. I went on do you know what an MPF ship is?
Yeah.
Maritime Pre-Positioning Fleet.
Mm-mm.
So not a lot of folks know this, but the Marine Corps actually has a fleet of ships,
Yep.
and it's operated by civilians, and they're basically just cargo containers.
Oh, wow, no.
And they're floating out there all around the world. And the idea is that you can wage full-fledged war on any country in the world. Just add Marines and stir within
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, no, I didn't know
It's-
that.
So they were doubling up their efforts in the Middle East. And I rode one of these ships through the Suez Canal down and around into Kuwait. And I was stationed at Camp Fox for
Okay.
about a year, which is in Kuwait, and we'd go up
Mhm.
north every now and then on little runs, and
Wow.
yeah,
I was in Desert Storm, and then the 5th rotation of Desert Storm, both times out of Al-Kabar, out of Riyadh.
wow,
Not Riyadh. It was Khobar Towers that we were in.
I couldn't find that on a map.
It's the coast.
Yeah.
Coast
Okay,
line,
all right, wow,
right off of Bahrain and all that. So it's
How long did you spend there?
9 months the first time, 5 months the second.
Yeah, when I went to Iraq, at the time it was 12 months boots on ground. So from your post-deployment to your pre-deployment, post-deployment, I mean, I was gone for 18 months because they had 12 months boots on ground. Then when I went to Iraq, it was only 12 months complete tour. And so it was 9 months boots on ground. But that was the longest 15 months.
I bet,
The
yeah,
Anaconda.
Longest 3 months for me. I spent 3 months JTF Liberia. It was a Joint Task Force Liberia.
Mhm.
It was a humanitarian effort with some military mission packed behind it. we were stationed based out of Dakar, Senegal, which is the absolute westernmost point of Africa, and I'm sure this is going to draw criticism. We stayed at Club Med.
Did you really? Is that a real
It is a
thing?
real thing. Yes,
It
it
was
is a
the
real
only
thing.
place that the Surgeon General would certify for us to be able to eat.
Are you
did you know
serious?
this?
Oh my gosh.
That they get, and I don't know if this is true or not, but if they have to stay in the barracks other than their own, they get like comp. You get like hazard pay or something.
I've never had to do it, so I wouldn't know.
But no, like if they
I
have to like
I go to
stay in
Holiday Inn
Army
instead.
barracks,
I go to Holiday Inn instead.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
if they had to stay in our barracks, they actually got like hazard pay or something because it wasn't the conditions set for the Air Force.
I can believe that. I've seen some Air Force.
Now I could be wrong, but I mean that's
they,
the rumor.
If you want to call them barracks, they're like little apartments. I don't know what they are exactly. But you're an officer, so I mean,
it was
it's-
a little
he
different.
already gets the hoity-toity rooms anyway.
Well, sometimes. Deployed to Keflavik, Iceland, for a NATO exercise, and the only place as an Air Force officer that I ever had 5 roommates.
oh,
But you know, that's I was only a major at the time, so you know,
Oh, just only.
no big deal. But I will say, best military food I ever had was at Naval Air Station Keflavik.
really?
Top-notch stuff. That and the Elf-1 compound in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
I thought Norfolk had some really good food from I think it was Naval. Yeah. Yeah, the Navy ran that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I was stationed at Eustis and then Fort Story.
Okay.
And so my first job was haggling cranes. So I was a crane operator loading the ships.
Haggling
Yeah, it's
cranes?
one of those cranes that the huge top ones at the dock. You have to climb the ladder to get to
Yeah.
the top. Yeah, they call it a haggling crane.
Oh,
I was a
that was
cargo
the name
specialist.
of the crane.
Yeah.
Because I used to operate cranes. I was like, what are you talking about? Haggling.
Yeah, these are
that's
ones that
the
are
name
permanent.
that's the type of
Yes.
crane it is.
And
I
it's one that
understand
picks
now.
up the cargo ships
Mm,
off the dock
mm.
and puts it into the carrier or whatever. But yeah, we went to Norfolk Naval, and oh my gosh, that food there was just compared to what peanut butter and jelly sandwich and chips.
And I will
mean,
say
it's like-
consistently, the Air Force is the worst. Our dining facilities not so good. We can't call them chow halls. They're
Oh.
dining facilities.
Oh,
But
What would
Chows.
make you say that?
cheapest contractors available.
Well, they do that. So no joke. When I was in the Marine Corps, my main job was heavy equipment operator. And they sent me over to the chow hall one day to offload this truck that'd come in. And I don't know where the regular guy was. Doesn't matter. So I start offloading these pallets, and I read, there's big letters on the side, and it says, for prisoner, military, or cattle consumption only. That was
oh my God!
Only
Cattle
the,
consumption.
only the finest.
only the finest. That's right. You can't.
Oh my God!
I guarantee you, Eagles Bar and Grill doesn't have that on it.
They might have a cow there, but
Yeah.
you might be consuming cow. Oh my gosh!
Oh man. So none of your crates say that at Eagles Bar and Grill.
No.
Did you guys have MREs? Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It comes with caviar and
no. We had the basic MREs. Normally, after a short period of time, we'd have a contract up for food. Probably 8 MREs for all total in my career, maybe 90 days.
Oh, yeah. I remember my dad bringing them home. We thought it was so cool because at the time, like the fruit cocktail and the pears were like dehydrated.
Yeah.
You would have to add water to it.
really.
But yeah, we would eat them
Oh,
like little
wow.
bars.
I remember my dad bringing home C rations
Yeah.
or K rations.
Hay rations. Yeah,
Cans.
I've seen them, but I've never tasted them.
Oh yeah, you had the little P52 can opener.
Yes, I've got one. I think one of those
Is
are
that
on my
what's-
keychain. I think.
You're like, oh, that's what that's for?
No, I know what it's for.
It'll break. It's thumb exercise is all it
Yeah.
is.
I don't have it on there. I took it off. I used to keep one on my keychain, but it kept cutting my pocket open. I must have left it out. So yeah. Well, we've been talking for about 8 minutes. Is there anything else that we want to get to, or we?
I don't know, but I think he should be my next co-host.
Oh wow, you're going to kick me off again. So Tony, apparently you're coming back next week.
You want to run a golf course?
That's-
You know as much about it as I did when I bought it.
I was going to say, if since a prerequisite is not being a great golfer, yeah, why not? I'll go.
You are eminently qualified.
Oh man, that's right. I won't get high on my own supply.
No.
You are
Well,
comical.
Tony, you've been a great guest
We've had
again. Yeah, we really have had fun, and we'll have to have you out here again sometime.
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. And hey, thank you all for sticking around for the bonus content. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.